Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Wow. Beautiful. Good morning, good morning. Welcome, everyone. This is Success Mentorship Class number 399. Wow. I want to welcome you on Instagram, on YouTube, and of course, our mastermind group right here on Zoom. Thank you so much for being here, each and every one of you. Today, you are in for a treat. We have a guest speaker, Dawn Lovell, and Dawn is going to be speaking on a topic that I think is on everybody's minds right now, and it's the I am frequency. The I am frequency. And her subtitle is this: Recalibrating Your Life for Success. Wow. Recalibrating your life for success. I want to remind everybody about the upcoming Making the 12 Universal Laws Work for You, our upcoming webinar. And we're going to be talking more about that. But for those who are just joining us, be sure to visit our website, successlessons.net, www.successlessons.net, to learn more about the webinar on the 25th, this Saturday coming, on how to use and how to make the 12 universal laws of success work for you. All right. So, you know, every time we have a great topic and a great speaker, it really draws in an incredible group of people. So thank you for our audience on Zoom, the mastermind team, the mastermind group. We know that your presence makes everything even bigger and more powerful. So let us prepare for the message by getting ourselves centered. Let's close our outer eyes, open our inner eyes. Take a deep breath, hold it, let it out slowly. Take a deep breath, hold it, let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that. I am at peace with myself. Just let that peace sink in. And in this peaceful state, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And so it is. All right. This incredible day, we have my good friend and a lady who I've really watched grow, who I've watched go from being a customer service expert to becoming a great speaker, teacher, trainer, presenter. So without further ado, author, speaker, customer service expert, Dawn Lovell, welcome to the Success Mentorship Network. We appreciate all that you do to help us stay on track, and we are looking forward to your message. The I am frequency. Take it away, Dawn.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harris. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Want to say a special shout out coming from the beautiful island of Barbados for all of you that are joining us. If you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, you're Instagram, and of course, to those of you in the mastermind group, good morning. It is such a pleasure, as usual, to sit on this side of the seat. I actually like being in the background, but sitting on this side of the seat is something that I really, really honor and appreciate. So this morning, I'm going to take my time with you because this morning I want us to get grounded. And Dr. Harris always does a wonderful meditation where, we can come, we can sit, and we can, be in the essence of what's happening. And today, of course, my topic is the I am frequency. And this morning at about 2 a.m., no, it's about 1:30, I got up. Obviously, I knew that I had to speak this morning, and I got this topic a couple of days ago. And it was from me listening to a sermon, and there was one statement that was made, one statement that brought about this whole presentation. So I'm hoping that this will bless your heart just as it blessed mine. I'm hoping that there's something in here that you can garner, whatever it is, just take it and run with it. So, the I am frequency. Wow, we talk a lot about I am. And many of us, we have an understanding of what that means. But I want to go really deep today. I want to take you through a journey. And when I first thought about this topic, I remember the story of the Lion King. Now, I love the Lion King. I absolutely love it. I think it was one of the best movies ever made. I saw the musical to it. It was amazing. But the one thing that always stood out in the Lion King for me was when Simba remembered who he was. If you guys can remember, he was there, he'd come up, he was a king. He was born a king. But life, circumstances, his father's death threw him off track, and he became something that he really wasn't, walking around talking about Hakuna Matata. He was walking with Pumbaa and Timon, and trust me, I love Pumbaa and I love Timon. But that was not who he was until Rafiki came one day and said, I need to talk to you. I need to knock some sense into you. And then he realized that really and truly, I'm not living my I am. I'm not living who I was truly born to be. I was born to lead a pack. My father was a king. And therefore, at one time when they always say, he came to himself, he had this revelation of who he was. And his dad spoke to him and said, remember who you are. That is the genesis of my story this morning, my presentation today, because I want you to go back to before all of the situations happened in your life, to go back to before the turmoil, the chaos, the disappointment, the betrayal, all those things. And I want you to remember who you were. Now, I've realized that these words, I am, they're not just a statement. These words are a frequency. And if you know anything about radio waves and, all of these gamma waves and all these different frequencies, if you are going to plug into a particular channel, there's a frequency that you have to be on. You have to tune to a particular frequency so that there's no static, so that you can hear clearly, so that you can receive clearly. There's this book that was written by a guy named Gay Hendrickson, and it's called The Big Leap. And in this book, he talks about these different zones. He talks about your zone of incompetence. He talks about your zone of competence. He talks about your zone of excellence, but he also talks about your zone of genius. And I believe personally, that's where we all must reside. That's where the I am frequency is, in your zone of genius, because that's ultimately, remember, Simba was able to walk in the forest. He had his friends, they were eating grubs and all this kind of stuff. And he could operate there. It wasn't that he was total, well, he was kind of a misfit, but at the end of the day, he morphed himself to fit into that environment, but it was not who he was. He was a hunter. He was the king. He was the king of the jungle. And the king of the jungle was operating on a lower spectrum, eating grubs on a daily basis. Think about it. So as I speak today, I want you to be really introspective. I want you to be really introspective. Are you operating as king of your jungle, king of your sphere of influence? Are you eating the grubs? So, one of the things I realized, and this is something that I've had to deal with for many, many years. Many of us, we're not operating on the I am frequency. A lot of us are trapped in the am I frequency. And this is this lowest level. This is your zone of incompetence. This is your zone of barely being competent at something. When you're competent, you can do it. It's okay. Other people can do it. You don't stand out. There's nothing significant about you. You're just there. You're just operating. But this I am frequency that I realize many of us operate on is usually, as I said, in reverse. It's a am I frequency. Am I good enough? Am I ready? Am I too late? Am I too much? And I'm sure if you're like me, these are questions that I've asked myself time and time and time again. You know what? Are you really ready? Are you too much? Are people going to think you're too much? There's a should I? Could I? All of these things. And it's always a question mark. And what happens on that frequency is that you live in a sphere of interference. There's always static. You know why? Because deep down, the I am is trying to be manifested. But when there's the am I, there's all of this static and this interference that's happening. You're not tuning in, so you're not receiving clearly. You're not hearing clearly. I am is a declaration. I am does not ask for permission. I am is a statement in itself. You see, we struggle a lot, not because the vision isn't totally clear. I mean, if you've been with Dr. Harris for a while, if you've read the 12 Universal Laws of Success, your vision needs to be clear. It needs to be precise. You need to be able to see it. But sometimes there are many of us, we've seen the vision. It's pretty clear now, because if you've been with us for a while, that vision should be pretty clear. But what's happening? There's not the total alignment. We say we want change, but our emotions, they're tuned with fear. We can visualize abundance, but really and truly, our words are speaking scarcity. Is that you today? There are things that we want. We crave structure and systems and stuff like that, but then our habits are speaking chaos. There's a disconnect. There's a misalignment. The version of you that's trying to rise, let me just say that. The version of you that is trying to operate on the I am frequency has not yet come to the fore. And many times we are still operating on an old frequency of where I was before, even some of the successes that I had before. The success that you had before, while it was great and we celebrate it, and you should celebrate it, what happens is the newer version of us that is bigger and bolder and brighter and better, it cannot function on that frequency. Dr. Benjamin Hardy also, he talks about these big goals. And one of the things he said is so resonated with me. Your goal needs to be so big that it requires you to change everything about who you are. You have to show up differently. You can't say you want this big vision, but you're operating the way you were operating all along. Because all along, what you did is what got you to where you are now. Whether that be good or bad, whether that be what you want or not. But it is impossible to continue on that frequency. So let's talk about the shift that is needed. Let's talk about it, because many times, as I said, we've been living in the reverse. We've been living in the am I frequency. So we need to shift to the I am. Because if you listen to it, it resonates different. There's a different sound. Am I versus I am. Okay. When you live in the I am frequency, this is where you need to pay attention. This is where you need to be writing your notes for all of you that are listening to me today. You see, you allow the future to shape your present and to reframe your past. Can I say that again? When you're living in the I am frequency, You allow the future, you allow your vision, you allow your purpose. What that does is it creates a frequency in your present. Now, I've heard many people say, people pretend, they're not that yet and they're boasting up. No, it's not that. It's that you're living in the present. You're walking in the present. You're dressing in the present. You're speaking in the present. So you bring your future closer to your present. And what that does, it allows you to reframe your past, because your past, whether good or bad, is part of who you are. But your future is speaking to who you will be. Again, at 2 a.m. this morning, I'm up and I'm watching Michael Phelps. Oh my goodness, Michael Phelps. This young man, 39 world records, 28 Olympic medals, 23 goals, one of the most decorated swimmers of all time. But do you know that Michael Phelps, when he was young, he had ADHD? He could hardly focus. He could hardly focus. And one of the things his mom did was got him into swimming because his sisters were swimmers. And this little boy, when he got into this thing, he focused so hard. So you need to, your I am niece, you need to resonate with this thing like it's the air that you breathe. This young man, I watched his documentary twice. He swam for about 5 or 6 years. He swam and practiced every day. He did not leave out a day. So it wasn't a Sunday, it's Sunday, we're resting, we're off. It wasn't, oh, it's a holiday, we're not practicing. No, he practiced every day. He got into his I am frequency and he never let go. He submersed himself. And obviously he was in water, so he submerged himself in water, but he submerged himself in his I am frequency. Now, you may not be a Michael Phelps. Granted, I'm not. But I am a Dawn. And what does that mean? You're a Herman. You're a Christine. You're an Addie. You're a Paige. What does that mean for you? You're a Dr. Harris. You're a Coach Smile. What is your I am? 39 world records. 39 amazing speaking engagements. 1,000 people coached. 1,000,000 people coached. 500,000 people's lives transformed. What is your I am frequency? What are you operating on? Are you still in the am I? Am I good enough? Can I really do it? Should I? Could I? Am I too much? Do people think I'm too much? You may be too much for people, but you can never be too much for your I am, because your I am requires you to show up as much. Okay, so reflection time. Let's talk about this. If you were to become ill tomorrow, if you knew you were going to die tomorrow, and none of us knows that. None of us knows the day, the time, the hour. None of us knows that. This could be the last time we're seeing each other right now. And I'm not trying to be morbid, but if perchance today was your last day or you knew you were going to die tomorrow, would you have lived your greatest life? No, Chaplain Addie's on here. This lady, we were just all laughing in the Zoom room. She did skydiving. She's talking and I'm clutching my throat. I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm palpitating even thinking about it. Our own Dr. Harris. Dr. Harris was like, I did it 3 times. Now, he didn't enjoy it, but he did it 3 times. I'm like, what would make you do skydiving 3 times and you didn't even like it? You didn't enjoy it. But at this stage in his life, he can say, I did that. I did that. I experienced the fear. I faced the fear and I did it. So in this season, are you living your best life? Have you lived your greatest life? For most of us, it's a no, or maybe for all of us. And you know why? Because you're always going to be evolving into something new. There's always something new. The issue is many times we're still trying to catch up. What we think is new is really the old. What we think is new is really what we should have been doing 10 years ago. So the new, we're always playing catch up. So I want to say to you today, in the midst of all of this, I want you to take some time. I always come with a reflection. I always come with homework. I always come with a challenge. I want you to really identify your I am. Because I'm clarifying that I am, and I'm sitting with it. Because this I am, I questioned for years. So now I have to pause and I have to sit with it. Sit with your I am. Sit with it. Embrace it, accept it, wear it like a cloak. I want you to replace your am I with I am. So now you've identified your I am. I am that coach that's going to transform millions. I am that speaker. I am that trainer. I am that author that is going to bring such change into the people's life I come into contact with. So that's what you're going to speak from here on in. Identify your I am. Let it resonate with you. Now you're going to replace your am I with your I am. You're going to speak it. You're going to declare it. Then you're going to remove conflicting priorities. Oh, and I know, this is one of the hardest ones for me. Because you have all these things that you're doing and they're good. But are they great? Are you operating in your zone of competence? Because I know most of us are here smart enough. We're not operating in our zone of incompetence. We're like, I'm done with that. At this age, I'm like, I'm not doing anything that I'm not good at. But where it gets a little muddled is that we get comfortable in our competence. Or it may be that you're operating in your zone of excellence. And that zone of excellence feels really good. I'm going to tell you, there's some things I know I'm excellent at, and they feel really good. You get the cheers and the applause for them. But you know in your spirit, that's not your zone of genius. So, and we're going to have different priorities. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, they all cannot be conflicting for the same space. That's the challenge. They're all fighting for the same space. And you have to differentiate. What is my top tier? What is my I am? Where is my zone of genius? And you may have to be working other things out during that time. You may need to make sure you're making a living. You may say, Dawn, but I can't do that right now. I got to make a living. This is something I'm good at. I can make money here. That's fine. All I'm saying to you is do not give that priority over your zone of genius, over your I am. Always remember, this is the path to my I am. This is the journey. This is the strategy. This is the how. I am does not ask for permission or validation. Let me say that again. I am does not ask for permission, and it does not ask for validation. Let go of that fear, that anxiety, that comparison of others and the old version of you. Whew. Let's breathe a bit. Let go of the fear, the anxiety, whatever it doesn't work out, whatever not good enough. Because remember, we're stating our I am. Let go of the comparison. Oh, I see Dr. Harris doing this, and oh, he's so amazing. I can never do it like that. Oh, no, because there's a different resonance for Dr. Harris. You see, you don't understand. He has a different frequency. He has a different frequency. You don't operate on his frequency. You have to find your frequency and let go of the old version of yourself. This is who I am. This is what brought me. I'm good. I'm thankful. I'm so very grateful for Dawn. I'm so very grateful for who you were. But this is not who I'm going to be. Bless her. Bless him. And release him or release her. Stop assuming everyone else is right and you're wrong. Because people will say, oh, you shouldn't do that. That's not gonna work. What that vision is too big. You will never accomplish that. Like, what are you talking about? Stop assuming everybody else is right. You've done that long enough. Your I am says, this is me, and this is who I'm called to be. And finally, action. Action. Your I am will resonate. There's a scripture I read, and all of you probably heard this scripture. You're spiritual or not. It says, faith without works is dead. But can I tell you, further on in that scripture, in the book of James, it says, I will show you my faith by my works. I will show you my faith by my works, which means you don't even have to say it. Your works will speak. Your actions will speak. So, by the end of The Lion King, Simba had taken back up his rightful place. The animal kingdom had been saved, and we know the end of the story. Michael Phelps, one of the greatest of all time in terms of swimming, and there's so many others that we know. Usain Bolt from the Caribbean, Jamaica. There's so many others. The great Muhammad Ali, who said, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. You see, it doesn't matter where you are now. It doesn't matter the last hit you took. That's what made them great. If you listen to the stories, if you read about these people, some of them had great calamity, great catastrophe. There were things that happened in their lives that threw them off track. They rose, they fell, they rose, they fell. But in history, they go down as legends. Will you be named among the legends? And I don't mean, again, at an Olympic level and maybe you are. Maybe you were supposed to be at the Olympic level. I don't know. But is your family, is your loved ones, are the persons that are connected to you, what will they say of you? On that day when we transition, what will be between the beginning and the end? What is going to fill that dash? My friends, today, this resonates deeply with me as well because I have to ask myself these questions. So I want to remind you, as you go through and as you step in, as you tune and align, Dr. Harris talked about alignment a couple weeks ago, to your I am frequency. Remember, identify what that is in this season. And you know what? It can change and it might look different in different seasons. So don't get confused. But there's one ending point. They all lead to one point. They all lead to a convergence. Replace your am I with an I am. Remove those conflicting priorities. Prioritize. Your I am should be at the top of your list. And the people and places that you need to be in, the relationships that you need for that I am should be at the top of your list. I am does not ask for permission or validation. Let go of your fear. It's not easy, but you got to let it go. You have to surrender. You got to let it go. You have to pray it out. You have to talk it out. Whatever you have to do to let it go. Let go of the anxiety that's rooted in fear. Let go of the comparison. Nobody else can ever do it the way you do it. There's a particular frequency, that particular wave, that particular vibration that you just need to tune. Someone said to me once, finding your purpose is like threading the eye of a needle. And it may take you some time, but that's okay. That's okay. Stop assuming everybody is right and you're wrong. Let go of the old version of you. She was beautiful. He was beautiful. He did what he knew to do with what he had. What information he had at the time, he made some of the best choices, or maybe not some of the best choices. But you know what? That's who he was then. Even with your successes, bless yourself for what you've accomplished so far. Be grateful and be thankful, but say bye. Finally, let your work demonstrate your faith. Let your work. Some of us, we talk too much and we've talked ourselves out of our vision. Some of us talk, and then when we didn't keep our promises to others and ourselves, we felt it. We felt like imposters. We felt like we cheated and we lied. We felt like we betrayed. So you know what? Let your word speak. And this, my friends, is how you function on a different level, a frequency of I am, a frequency of this is who I was born to be, and I'm not going to apologize for it. A frequency of there are people that are my people, and I am going to reach my people, and my people are going to reach me. There's a frequency of peace. Oh my goodness. There's a frequency of peace. Then when that day comes, you won't be like the ones that said, I should have. I wish I would have. You're going to say, I am. And I walked in the fullness of who I was created to be. So that's my message for you today. I hope that it has resonated. This is how you recalibrate your life. And you know what? Recalibrating is good. Sometimes we have to recalibrate. We got to keep looking. We got to keep searching. We got to keep seeing. And the path does become clearer as we do that. So this is Dawn talking to you today about the I am frequency. I pray that for you as I pray it for myself. May you be blessed. And now I just want to turn over to my mentor, someone that has absolutely blessed my life, has been so much of a support and a guide during this journey of mine, Dr. Herbert Harris. Thank you so much, Dr. Harris.
Wow, wow, wow. Dawn, you are operating on a different level, a different frequency, a different vibration, but you broke it down to such an understandable version. You know, I grew up in the era of radio before you had digital stuff. Now you dial it in and you get it perfect. But in the era of what they call it, analog, when you had a radio and you had to dial your radio station in and you couldn't get the station, you had to tweak it and turn it a little to the left and a little to the right so that you could hear the message clearly. And that's really what you're talking about when you were saying that I am frequency. That each of us is born in a harmonic, really a harmonic existence. And that is really created in our creation. And so our life is like Simba, is like finding the vibration that's already there, identifying it above all the distractions, above all the what do you call it? The criticism, above all the things that say you can't. I love it when you were saying that am I is a statement of doubt, but doubt leads to clarity when you ask questions. I am is a statement of certainty, declaring who you are in the universe. Wow. Wow. Incredible. Dawn, I tell you, I just gotta I was making notes, and I think that people who are listening on YouTube and those who will hear this in the future, that this is one of those programs that you need to go back and listen to over and over again because there are different aspects of you that you have to take yourself to a certain level of really surrender that I don't know, that you had that question that says, have you lived your greatest life? And when you ask yourself, am I living my best life? If you can't say yes, then that's a clue you need to make the adjustment. You need to recalibrate. You need to make some changes. You need to listen to that divine in you. I can't wait for the discussion, Dawn. Thank you so much. You have blessed us. You've gone to, as they say, a different frequency. I love it. You've gone, if life is a skyscraper and our level of consciousness represents the different floors, as we move up in consciousness, we're able to see more, to be more. And not only that, but to manifest more, because your ability to manifest and create the life you desire depends on your level of consciousness. If you see lack and limitation, that's all you create. But if you see possibilities and positivity, that's all you create too. Anything else is a distraction. So let me wrap up our live broadcast. Let me once again thank you, Dawn, so much. Those on the Zoom, looking forward to your comments and feedback. And once again, I want to invite you, those who are listening, to register for the Making the Laws of Success Work for You webinar coming up on Saturday. And so the link is successlessons.net, www.successlessons.net. And as you were sharing today, Dawn, I could see so many aspects of that training manifesting what you're saying, that law of thought to help people establish in their mind the thoughts that are congruent with their vibration. That law of change, that you can actually make those changes necessary to tune yourself in to the harmonic of your purpose. That law of vision that gives you the ability to see beyond your present conditions, but to use your imagination like a great hammer, to a chisel, to carve out a magnificent statue of who you are. You are the Michelangelo of you. You create, Michelangelo, he said, I looked at a piece of stone when he was carving David. He said, I looked at a piece of stone and I freed David from the stone. And so this message that you gave today, this vibration will help us free ourselves from the stone of past failures, from the stone of criticism, from the stone of lack of love and lack of self-worth. And that's why this webinar is so critical, because it will help you form the foundation for your future and help you find that I am vibration that you were created to resonate in. All right, folks. So thanks on YouTube for being with us. Share this broadcast and make some comments. Write in there, make some comments about how this message has transformed your lives. And let me thank you for being with us. And let me close that broadcast out so we can hear the great words